Juice transition from that riveting baseball talk. We're now joined by Aaron Portzline from The Athletic. I don't, Bobby, you probably know this. Shark, I know you know this. I really don't have any boundaries. And, Porty's pretty busy with the draft and all these trades and everything. As soon as the Jackets trade with Colorado was announced, I texted him, said, do you like the trade or not? Like he has nothing else going on in his life right now. He couldn't respond to me. That's okay. Yeah. So, Porty, I'll ask you now, break down that trade with the Avalanche for me.
You want me to just text you back or talk?
No, go ahead. You have plenty of time. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry about that, by the way. No, I like it. I mean, listen, they're better. Their bottom nine, I think, is better. A big part of this, of course, is if Myles Wood can bounce back. I think we all know who Charlie Coyle is. He's one of the most consistent players in the league. I mean, kind of a lock, really, to score between 10 and 15 goals, maybe a little bit more than that he did last year. Big guy, right shot, right face-off guy, which is what they really, really wanted among their centermen. And, yeah, I think to me, if this is a good trade or not really hinges on if Myles Wood can get back to being Myles Wood, which is the sort of 300-mile-per-hour player who can be disruptive on a forecheck, high energy, not just a big guy positionally sound, but can really be can mess things up a bit, and they felt like they needed some of that. A lot of guys were that intermittently last year. They feel like he's a speed upgrade on Corrali, frankly, and so I think it's what they need in their bottom six.
So is this Porty of the process? I know they were building with a young team, and then all of a sudden, you get Gaudreau who wants to come here. They ultimately sign him, and unfortunately, obviously, we've documented everything that's gone on there. But this team, like they've been trying to figure out kind of where they're at in this rebuilding process. And last year, I think they looked to be ahead of schedule, taking it basically to the 81st, 82nd game with having a playoff shot, given how they played down the stretch. Like, where are they at in your mind right now as they're trying to kind of rebuild this thing and turn this group of young talent with some veterans into a playoff caliber squad?
Yeah, well, I think last year was really, really educational, not just for everybody watching these young players here in Columbus and wondering where they're going to get to, but for Don Waddell, a first-year general manager, who you don't really know what things look like until you're there and around it close, dug in day by day. And I think he gained so much knowledge about what this group is and what this group needs. I don't think they're using the word rebuild anymore at all. I know Don Waddell is not. It looks this summer so far, I'll grant you, that this is still a patient approach, and I don't think it's that at all. There are trades that they've not been able to pull off. They were in on Dobson. I think they're talking to a ton of teams. He really wants to move things forward. In that respect, the first round was a bit of a disappointment because those two first-round draft picks were two of their bigger chips to play this summer, and they ended up picking players with them, which it's fine, but I think they wanted to cash those in on today help. So these next couple days, 48 hours or so, loom large in terms of how quickly he can push this forward, because the goal now is not to just get better and see where these young guys is. It is to make the playoffs for sure. Absolutely, 100% this year.
Aaron Portzline joins us from The Athletic. He's been following the Jackets since day zero. He's been with the Jackets and doing this. So, Porty, the draft overall, and yeah, I'm with you. The Jackson Smith pick, I think that most people would say that it was a good pick for the Jackets. I know that Waddell said that was one of the guys they had rated higher than where he fell to. But in every pick except for the second first-round pick, seems like you can justify.
Yeah, you know what? I even have a hard time with that, to be honest with you, because, I don't know these guys. And I think, and nothing against the mock drafters of the world, a lot of these guys put a lot of work in, super educational. But it is a group where they tend to follow the leader, and nobody wants to get too crazy with where they have guys ranked. I can tell you from previous years, excuse me, that there are teams that have, there will be a mock draft with a bunch of guys, honestly, in the first round that an NHL team doesn't have on their board anywhere, right? Like, it can be 70, 80, 110 spots off, and it can even be not even on the board kind of stuff, which is wild. Don Waddell said, And I'll leave it to you. It's hard for me to believe. I'm not saying he's not being truthful, but it's really hard to get your arms around that the first three players they took, so we're talking 14, 20, and I believe 76, were all in their top 14 players in their overall master board list. That's wild. I don't know these guys. I'm not smart enough, certainly, to say in the fifth round that's a good pick or a bad pick. I'd rather have the longtime hockey players and professional scouts go with that. There's a ton of promise in there. I love the draft because everybody comes away from it feeling that they got really good players. Blue Jackets are no different. But the Jackson Smith kid's probably 2 years away. He's going to Penn State in the fall. The goaltender's 4 or 5 years away. So these drafts, as fun as they are, they're best judged probably a few years down the road.
So what else does this team need, Porty, in your opinion, to begin to take that next step?
Yeah, so they got to figure out what they're doing on the back end. They signed Dante Fabro yesterday. That makes, I'm sure, them feel a lot better going into free agency, wanting one defenseman, not thinking that they may need two. See where it is with Provorov. My sense, even as of yesterday, is that they weren't really moving forward on something. That tells me that Don Waddell is hopeful that he's got something else cooking. I don't know if that's Rasmus Anderson. I don't know if that's Bowen Byram. I think that's sort of the focus right now is on defense. The other thing to keep in mind is in order for a player to be bought out during this window, and I'm talking about Elvis Merzlikins here, the Blue Jackets would need to have him on waivers by today. So if Elvis Merzlikins is not on waivers today, then you can assume he is not part of this first buyout window. The second buyout window deals with arbitration hearings. So this is really the opportunity for the Blue Jackets to make that move if that's where it's going to go. Not saying it is, just saying that's when we'll get the indication.
The arbitration hearings, how does that work if they try to buy him out then?
Well, yeah, so the only way it relates to him is I'm saying the second window, you can put a player on, you can buy out a player's contract if there's an arbitration finding for another player that you lose that alters your cap window. With the Blue Jackets, they would put Merzlikins, just again, theoretically, put him on waivers, make him available to the rest of the team, rest of the league, sorry. If nobody claims him, then they can buy out the contract. It's 2 years, so it'd be a 4-year buyout at 2/3 of his remaining money, which is $10.8 million. On the salary cap. I think it's a little less than that salary-wise, but so they'd be paying him off for the next 4 years at less than his full contract.
Are you going to be surprised if he's on the team after? If he's not on waivers today, are you going to be surprised by that?
You know, it's weird. In the broad sense, I will be, yes. But as it gets closer to this, and now we're down to the final day, I think you start to think, it's possible he could be around. This is the second season in a row that we've left thinking that probably cannot be maintained, that whole situation. I do think they want a fresh start there, but we'll see. Today will be very telling on that end.
It's very interesting when you start looking at that, and if he's not on waivers today,
yeah,
options then, I mean, the trade value there, they'd have to eat, I would assume, a large portion of that contract to be able to get it, to move him. Is there any, I mean, is that a viable possibility, or would you just see him being potentially on the team for this 25-26 schedule?
Yeah, to me, the trade window is, I find it hard to believe there is one because, Bobby, how guys are, these guys are known around the league, right? There's really there's no secrets. Players move,
yeah.
Coaches move, all that. I've been told there is a trade market. I'm not sure if that's still the case after the events of the last few days. So to me, that's not a reasonable, predictable avenue for them to go with this. And honestly, if there were one, I think it probably would have been done by now, but things can change as the summer moves along. I just feel like that's a situation. Tarasov's been traded, nothing against him. I just think the team would really benefit, and I think they know this from a fresh start on that end of the dressing room all around. Jet Greaves is going to energize a ton of players here probably wise to think of him as a backup with a chance to be more than that this coming season. But a veteran player back there with Jet Greaves, I think would infuse a lot of energy into this group.
Porty, in this Jackets history, we've seen a lot of goalies that have had their kind of hot beginning and they're a great name, sometimes even sign an extension like Swiss cheese Steve Mason, and then they just fall by the wayside. Do you notice any kind of common thread among the ones that have succeeded?
Well, to me, it's such an interesting position because it really is. It is the closest thing that hockey has as an equivalent to quarterback. Like, you have to play the position well. Obviously, all of that has to be there. But you have to be like a foundational part of everything that's done with that team. That's the one guy that you're going to have off nights over the course of 82, soon to be 84 games. I get that. But that's the guy that has to be prepared, controlled, predictable. That's the guy you get behind each night. And I think, and I've said this before, this isn't new, there's so much talent in Elvis Merzlikins, so much talent. We've seen that, especially early in his career. It's the other part of this that he's 31 years old now, guys. This is not a young player who's still growing into the position. And that's why in some sense, again, we're 24 hours away from free agency and him likely being here if he's not bought out. So I guess we accept that, yeah, it's a possibility, as the Blue Jackets have said all summer. On the other hand, I just find it hard to believe that that's not an upgrade they make this summer.
Who's aged worse, Elvis Presley or Elvis Merzlikins?
Well, Elvis probably. I mean, that jumpsuit was hanging on for dear life, boys, a couple nights in Vegas.
It was so tight, though, Porty.
It was a look, man. It was a look. But Elvis is, yeah, I'll stop there. I'll say Presley aged worse.
Okay, that's probably the right answer.
Elvis aged worse, yeah.
The development camp starts this week, and according to your Sunday gathering, which I don't think it should ever have a week off going forward, just so you know, all the 6 guys drafted and Cade Lindstrom are expected to be there. What do you glean from these development camps, or what are you hoping to see?
Well, you know what? You mentioned Caden Lindstrom, the guy they took 4th overall last year. I think it'll be good for Blue Jackets fans, many of whom, I might add, became back experts over the last 18 months.
Yes.
To just see him skating, right? He played at the end of this season in the playoffs of the Western Hockey League and in the Memorial Cup. That was really good to see. Also, a million miles away for a lot of fans in Columbus, Ohio. To see him on the ice, skating, thriving, smiling, all of those things, I think would be really reassuring. But then you just get a look at these guys. And sometimes you can draw way too many conclusions out of this. It's more just, hey, look, hockey in the early July, like how great is this? And they get to know each other. And those friendships are still alive today with many players in the Blue Jackets dressing room. So you're building something, even if the fans in the stands can't quite grasp that at a close-up range.
Porty, you deal with a lot of international players. You meet people all over the world. You travel all over for things as well. If a truly blue blood American person calls you mate, does that bother you?
Not in the least.
Okay.
Not in the least.
Okay. It makes me uncomfortable. This is Shark's final week, your last time with him on the show here. Are you like me? Do you remember being 5-6 years old listening to Shark on Stump the Shark?
Oh, 100%. Yes. I mean, Tito, we're getting old here, brother.
Can imagine for Shark.
And Shark, honestly, has he asked if has he gotten permission to do this?
Oh, no, he did it on his own.
Did he not
Renegade.
saying this? Is he able to just leave like that? Is it up to him entirely?
He's saying because he's 65, even though we've tried like hell to keep him around.
It's not like you guys work.
That's fair. That's fair, Porty.
Now you sound like my kids, Porty.
all we do is get a bunch of guys like you on, and that fills the time for us. Then we get a paycheck. That's perfect for us, Porty. Yeah, I'm not sure why, but like Shark though, yeah, his last day will be tomorrow. But I'm sure you have the same kind of feelings I do. Like Shark has just been, seems like almost my entire life has been on the radio here.
Yeah, and Shark, thanks for all the updates. I wish you had more positive Browns news to pass along.
Ugh.
A few more Reds wins, but that's not your fault. You're just doing your job. But you will be missed. Your dulcet tones will be missed on the Columbus Airways.
All right, Porty, appreciate the time, buddy. Thanks so much. And next time I text you, I don't care if you're busy or talking to a GM or something. Just text me back.
I'm texting you actually right now.
All right. Have a good day, mate.
I like the trade.
Appreciate it. All right, we'll see you, bud.
Man, take care.
That was Aaron Portzline from The Athletic. I'm telling you right now, subscribe to The Athletic. If you don't, you're missing out. It is a fantastic way. He did just text me. Good trade. Thank you very much, Porty. God. Anyway, he's a pro's pro. Love Porty and love all his coverage of Blue Jackets. He is truly the best when it comes to that. All right.